Hi, I'm Sharon Landon, and welcome to Old Asian Lady. My guest today is Ghanniy Oyedele. He is a member of the Yoruba people from southwest Nigeria who has lived in Taiwan now for 14 years. Ghanniy is a teacher, comedian, creative director, and founder of a bilingual theater group in Taipei. He shares his thoughts of what motivates him as a teacher and his feelings of deep connection to Taiwan. Ghanniy is married to a Taiwanese, and they have two biracial kids who communicate in fluent Mandarin. We talk about some of the challenges of being an interracial couple and how he is bringing up his sons to embrace their multicultural identities. Thank you so much for coming by the studio today and having a chat with me.
I'm glad to be here. Happy to be here.
Okay, the last time I actually saw you was last month in December. You invited me to the very first Taiwan Yoruba Day.
Yes, the inaugural Yoruba Day. Yes, that was good.
That was really interesting because it gave me a chance to kind of have some insight in the music a little bit and the cultural thing, which I hadn't really been exposed to before. So that was really cool.
Yes, I don't even think you knew about my ethnic identity before, did you?
No, I didn't. No, specifically,
yeah.
Exactly where in Africa you were from.
Nigeria.
Yeah, now I know.
Oh, now you know, yes. You even know more than that. You now know I'm Nigerian, I'm Yoruba.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so you were born and grew up in Nigeria or
Yes,
Yoruba.
yes.
So is it Yoruba people or is it an actual city, Yoruba region, but it's in Nigeria? So how?
Yes, the people are Yoruba, like the Chinese people.
Okay.
We are Yoruba, and we are in the southern part of Nigeria. Southwest part of Nigeria. I'm thinking of a map of Nigeria in my head now. We also move out into the neighboring country, Benin Republic, Togo, even Ghana. Those are the countries next to each other on the coast of the Atlantic, Africa. So,
but what do you mean like we even moved out?
But move out means that we are the same people. That the British demarcated into different countries. So we are that people in that area.
Okay.
That we are Yoruba, yes.
Yeah.
So that's Nigeria. And we're also not only in West Africa. We are also in the Americans. We are in Cuba. We are in Haiti. We are in Puerto Rico. We're in many places. We know the reason for that, of course.
Not as many as Chinese people that are all over the place.
Well, you're number one. You're number two now. You're number one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the reason? I mean, I know that was it you that came up with the idea to organize this event in Taiwan, or was it a collective of all the Yoruban people that are in Taiwan decided
it is a collective. We have the Yoruba group. We've had the Yoruba group for a very long time, but I actually joined that group last year, at the beginning of last year. And the reason is also because whenever I attended the group meetings, I didn't really feel like it's what I want to do or where I want to be part of. So, but last year, in the beginning, January actually, they had a meeting and I attended. And they decided to do an election that day, and I was elected as one of the officers. And and I was like, okay, they're making me stay here now. I'm going to stay here. And so staying means I have to give my own views and ideas and where I would prefer this to move, the direction I wanted to go to. And they supported my idea, and so that worked very well. And at the end of the year, we achieved the Yoruba Day.
Right.
It was the highlight of last year for me, definitely. It was not just only in Taiwan that we were noticed as people. In Nigeria, they telecasted it in Nigeria.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, very cool.
People were calling me. We're so proud to have done that in Taiwan.
I mean, was that your goal for holding that event? Is to get.
My goal. You've known me for a while now. My goal has always been to showcase Black people in Taiwan. I've always had issue with that. That we don't see black people. And I mean, I do stand-up comedy, as you know, and I've made jokes about it a lot. Like I come to Taiwan, I'm like, where are the black people? And something like that. And it's seriously, I mean, landing in the country, you don't see black people. Actually, spent my first 2 weeks in Taiwan. Maybe that's one of your questions later. When I first came to Taiwan, I didn't see any black person. And I spent 2 weeks. And I went back, I think I went back to England, and I met a guy, a black guy who said he lives in Taiwan. So he said, okay, when you come to Taiwan, check me out at this place, or check this place, this club, that black people always go there. So I came back to Taiwan, and I went to that club, and it was true. There are many black people in that club. And the feeling was different, to be able to see your own people. And not just black people, black girls too. Well, not black girls, semi-black girls, the Indonesians that are, that's a joke, sorry about that. The Indonesians or people that feel different also.
Yeah,
so
darker color face.
Yes, darker color face, thank you.
Yeah.
That's much better. And so it was nice to be able to see black people. And then after that, you still don't see them. The things I do, what I love, like I love the entertainment industry, and when you see black people, they're always doing some cultural dance or something like that. You don't really see, I mean, all those naked dancing things that people like to see, and I always didn't like that. I feel like we're smart, intelligent people too. We can be doing things that white people are doing in this country. They so much monopolize events in Taiwan, the white people, and that is true. And it's so when someone like me get there, and I struggle, I will feel like, oh, they have one black person. They will be happy to have one black person. But no, they're like, no, this is not your side. This is for white people. They don't say it in that term, but that's how it often felt like to me. So when I reach other black people, and I'm able to say, oh, we have our people too. Okay, let's do our things. Let's do something.
I understand about the white or the Caucasian or the foreign, influence in Taiwan, and maybe it's because they've been here longer. But always the foreign face, and maybe like you're saying, it's not necessarily including a black foreign face that is more seen as just different than the majority of Asians. So I don't know if they can do more, or they are allowed more leeway, or they can do a lot more things.
You already said it. It's just be inclusive. They should have that ideology that let's include others. Let's not just be us. And that inclusion in that time, it goes a long way. You know, it's in every facet of discipline in Taiwan that you see that. And most of the time you feel gaslighted. By that I mean that you even blame yourself. You feel like, I have blamed myself before. Maybe I'm too forward. I've asked myself, maybe you're too forward. Maybe you're too loud. Maybe you're too this. They don't like you because it's not because you're black. It's because of you. You are too forward. and that's when that started happening to me. I realized that maybe I should do my thing. You know what I'm saying? Then I started, for example, look at stand-up comedy. I had Stand-up Taiwan. Maybe you've seen it online. So I had that, and I had to create shows for myself, which I had to invite white people to be part of the show. You know what I'm saying? And so the good thing about that is that it pushed me to do something. And then when I did things like that, I realized that, okay, I'm not too forward. I'm just a creative. I can do stuff. And the same thing with theater. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can say this to you clearly. Theater also helped me. I never wrote plays. It was the push that I had to do something. And it could start with me. Yes, it started with me that I'm not being invited, I'm not being included. But then I'm not the only black person. Because if other black people see me, they were like, oh, we can be part of this too. You know, we can come out too. But I, with my being forward, which I am, even with my forwardness, I still don't get in. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to prove myself. I remember talking to, you know about Type is Short very well. You've been, it's 5 years, 6 years that's been going on?
Yeah, something like that, because I think I was only involved in the first couple.
I remember preparing for the audition for that thing. I remember going there, I remember making sure I did well. I remember that, you know. I remember being interviewed after that, being praised that was beautiful, we love it. But, you know, we don't have a role for black actor. And that was annoying to me. It was offensive to me even. Because whatever you've written is not a historical play for white people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a play with a white man and a woman and stuff. And John, I've forgotten his surname. It's a very cool John. John is actually not white himself. John is You know John?
Yes. Yes.
So, and I spoke to John at length, and John said, well, I'm a producer. I'm not the writer. It's not my script. I'm not even the director. So I can't choose the actors for them. But Ghanniy, why don't you write? And I was like, yeah, why don't I write? I don't know how to write. He said, but maybe you do. And that was the first person that made me start thinking of writing. And that's how I started.
I would have to say then certain things happen in our lives for particular reasons. And the things that happened to you, which you felt in, being excluded, it wouldn't necessarily only be in Taiwan, I have to say. I mean, as an Asian, we feel, or I feel sometimes on a fringe of certain things too. So it's not, but definitely there's a, racial content, and not necessarily maybe always deliberately. But yeah, the good thing that came out of it absolutely is that you found your creativity, you were able to write, and so it's forced you to do a lot of things that you wouldn't have done, right?
That's true.
So I honestly have to say that I'm really, I don't know, I couldn't say proud, but I really am impressed with
You can be
your
proud.
thinking.
You're an old Asian lady. You can be proud.
Okay, I've got your permission to be proud. But yes, so that's the comedian part of you coming out. But just seeing it for a fact by myself, because I remember when you and I were trying to get a group of people together to get something started, to create something. And it's hard when there's people from different levels, different professions, different way of thinking necessarily to get them together, and especially when we're trying to work without a budget, which I feel like we have to do at the beginning, And then that was kind of forcing us to, okay, there's a lot of people in the group that are interested and want to do it, but it just somehow didn't work out, and we had to find a different way. So just the fact that a lot of times people that want to do something, they don't, because it's fear holding them back, or it's like maybe they're not sure, or whatever reason. But I really have to hand it to you. You really said, hey, let's do something. Like we ended up filming that one little short because you said, let's just go ahead and do it, right? So I really admire that about you, and the fact that you've been able to do what you've been doing, like creating the bilingual theater group here.
Yeah.
And you said it's really showcasing. The thing is that you're showcasing the Black culture, but also you're adding in the element of Taiwan.
Yes.
With it.
Yes.
So
yes, we can talk about that. First, let's talk about the first idea that we had. What was that short? The short. What do you call that? Sort of a play, like a sketch. That sketch.
Yeah,
that
it's
you
a
and
sketch.
I did.
Or yeah,
and
sure.
I wish I had stayed with that sketch, because when the idea first came to me and I pitched it to you, it was a sketch of just those two people that will be doing various things over the course of the time. And then I added other people to join, and they gave me their own idea, and I had to let my own idea go. And
Yeah.
the idea they gave was so cumbersome, so hard to put together, but we tried, and we got some episode out of it.
Yeah.
That was an experience. We did that.
Yeah.
And so that's gone. I thought, how can we move on? You know what I'm saying? And then the type of short came, and I said, yes, I like theater, because one of the things I learned from our small web series was the actors were not taking it as serious as they should. They didn't learn their lines very well, and I was watching, filming, directing. I wasn't enjoying it, and that really, I had to ask myself, why are you doing this if you're not enjoying it?
Yeah.
Of course, that's episode I enjoyed. I mean, that was
Yeah.
an episode I couldn't put together. I still regret it today. We shot it at Ghanniy. You were in that episode. That was a memorable episode because of what happened to you that day.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
forgotten. And
I never saw that episode. Was it completed?
it wasn't done because we shot on maybe black magic, and that was one of the reasons why I started learning black magic. That
Yeah,
black magic,
because
black magic.
There was a lot of challenges for that shoot because that was when I fell and had a slight concussion. I had to go to the hospital. It was wet. Then a lot of challenges for that one.
Couldn't edit it, and I wasn't an editor then. I mean, I would edit it now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, interesting. In fact, I will get the raw later and try to do it again because now I am more confident on dealing with Black Magic raw and edit it myself. And that's one of the things I've been able to do. I have that personality. When I have a challenge, I try to overcome it, no matter how long it takes me.
Right.
And that was 3-4 years ago, remember? And so whenever I see anything that is stopping me, I try to see what do I need to do to get this done. Do I need to study something? And then I'll do that, and then I'll move on. But it's not something I do on my own. There are people around me that make it easy for me. I remember the writing you talk about. It was my friend Mark. Mark has this group, they do writers group. They're in Taiwan, they're online, you know what I'm saying? And he leads the writers group, and he was telling me about, hey, why don't you write something? I said, I can't write. He said, don't say you can't write, just write it. And then you come to the group and we sit together, join us, and we review the paper. And we reviewed something. So I wrote the first one, and then they reviewed it. No. I wrote my first script. I sent it to someone a friend of mine, and you know my friend too. And I like this lady. She's a good writer. So I sent it to her. And I forgot what she said. She destroyed that script for me. And I felt like I'm never going to write again. Writing is not my thing. And I agree with her. She's right. I'm not a writer. It was terrible. And she let me know it was terrible. And so that stopped me until I met Mark. And Mark said, just send something. So I sent the same script to Mark. And then I went in to sit with a group of writers. And the review was completely different. It was actually very, very so encouraging. And I was like, really? And that led me to write another one. So but that's just another thing that something happens. You get lucky.
I mean, it's just interesting, though, throughout your life, you get comments or you get feedback from whether it's teachers. I mean, you're a teacher, but teachers or people that are perceived to have more knowledge than you. And if they say something that, is maybe not what you were expecting, or maybe it just makes you feel, one, not very good, but it kind of hampers or a lot of things going forward.
Yes.
But it was a good thing that, you were able to find that other group, and that changed your thinking. I always told myself I hate writing. And I'm hearing from people all the time that, Sharon, you should write down your story. You'd be really good to have that. And I said, no, because the reason why I said that is in all my work, my job, I had to do a lot of business writing, a lot of writing. So in terms of that, it's really not the same as creative writing, but that's one of the reasons why I've always held myself back from writing. But in actual fact, I think if we were to change our way of thinking in terms of not being able to or can't do into I can do it, I think things like that will happen. Just like now a lot of things are happening, with what you have been bringing out in Taiwan, relating to theater, relating to your culture and things. So I think it's the mindset.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's like start saying, yes, I can.
Yes,
I can do it.
That's an improv thing too, right? You know the improv exercise, yes, I can. Do you know that exercise?
I don't remember that.
But it's almost, it's the same concept is that yes, I can.
When I first met you, improv was when I first met you. Yeah. It wasn't improv, it was an acting class where you did an improv on the stage, and I was there and I liked it. And I was like, oh, I'd like to work with this woman. And I told her, actually, you don't remember it, but I remember it very well.
This characteristic that you have is it's a go do this if, myself, if has it always been that part of your character? I mean, even when you've been back in Nigeria when you're small.
Yes, it has always been.
Okay,
yes.
Interesting. So tell me a little bit about your life in Nigeria.
Yes. I've always been that guy that don't give up. Oh, and so that means I'll be beaten up very well, you know.
Oh.
I mean, the bullies have the field day with me. You know what I'm saying?
But not giving up as in
Well,
what
not giving up
kind
is
of
that
things?
I don't let go. I don't accept defeat. I'll have to keep going. Bully is the
Yeah.
same everywhere. And for someone like me, I always interfere where I shouldn't. But they don't just come. I was always a muscular kid. So bully don't see me as the first choice. You know what I'm saying? But then, so I'm not even the first, second, third choice. But then
You stick up for somebody.
Exactly. I would do that. And I was like, hey, can you just stop doing that? And then we're like, hey, and then it will become my problem. And then
Right.
I'm not going to call, like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be like, what? And then I was like, well, let's meet after school. So after school is an African thing. After school, I don't know. We don't fight in school. We fight after school. And then we'll meet after school and I'll get beaten up. And I'll say, tomorrow we'll do it again. And then we'll do it again tomorrow. And then eventually the bully stops.
Did you guys live in a suburban area, your
Yes,
family?
I live in Lagos, which is the capital city of Nigeria. We live in, what do you call this area in America? It's suburbs. We live in the suburbs. We call it a satellite town, a town that is created specifically, nice town built for
Right.
a modern area. And I think we moved there around 77, but let's leave that time alone. So we had a very, very beautiful, nice community. I mean, it's like a satellite town. It's town built that everything is there. So we have this communal system. It's an African thing or Nigerian thing, where if you live within 1,000 people, they all know you, something like that. And it's like we have this saying that
That can be good or bad.
it's actually good in my opinion.
Yeah?
Yeah. So that everyone knows you. You can't do something bad. Your parents will hear about it. Seriously, that was the kind of community we had. But I can go to what I remember about that time was my interest in entertainment. It
So
started
when
from,
young, you
I was doing that
okay.
when I was young. In fact, I remember very well. In fact, they could tell that this guy should be an actor or something when I was a kid. Or I remember when I was in primary school. I was in primary 6. And another thing I want to say is that I wasn't speaking English in primary school. I remember that I was thinking about that. I wasn't. It was Yoruba. It was Yoruba, everybody, because teachers don't speak English. No one speaks English. No one spoke English at that time, except until you get to the junior high. You know what I'm saying? So I remember with the first time I spoke English, my dad was like, "What? How do you speak that well?" Something like that. When you get to a level, because we don't speak, and then you only get to speak if you are meeting someone from another tribe that doesn't speak your language. And then the only medium is English. Adults speak English because they go to work. You know, English is a language of the country. It's a national language. But children, parents, like they're trying to do in Taiwan, that kids should not be speaking English until they get to 3rd grade or something like that.
Oh.
They do that in Taiwan. Maybe you don't know that.
Actually, I heard that. I didn't realize that it was it's illegal.
It is illegal,
to
yes,
teach children under certain age
Yes.
English.
On a 3rd grader or something like that.
3rd grade. Yeah, it's
But they do it anyway because parents want English, so something like that. So when I was in primary school, I remember the first time I was involved in a play. And this is what is interesting about it is that I wasn't just involved in the play, I directed the play. And I was in primary school. But then I did not know it's now that I think back, like, wait, I was directing that play. Then I was, okay, we are having the graduation ceremony for primary school. And the teacher said, okay, you guys, what are you going to do? And I said, okay, how about a play? But I had family members that came from village that always tell stories. So one of the stories they told me, I loved the story. And I told my peers, okay, let's do this. I'll be the king. Hey, you can be the queen. And you can be my princess. You can be my prince. And then this is the story, and this is the thing. It was a musical. And we did it.
wow.
And it was beautiful.
Wow.
And then what happened after that was that someone in the community saw that play and came to me, and he was a very good writer in Yoruba language. And he wrote a poetry of almost a book. I'm not kidding you. And he said, you're going to memorize this thing within 3 months. Can you do that? And I took it and I did it.
Wow.
And the African poetry, we call it Ewi. African poetry, it's poem, and it's a bit of personalized praising of someone. So I had to read that poem to the governor of Lagos State, and I did it. And I was just that age of 12,
Wow.
13.
Wow.
So I remember that very well when I was a kid. So I was known. And after, when I got to junior high, I started singing at school. And this is another funny one because singing then was for girls. The girls are the beautiful girls. So we have classrooms, of course. We're in the classroom. So the boys were playing soccer in this classroom, and the girls were doing their singing rehearsal in that classroom. And this is what happened to me. So the girl was singing a particular verse, and maybe the teacher stopped her because she didn't do it well. But I was playing soccer with my friends, and I was singing that verse, kept playing soccer. So suddenly we heard the teacher say, "Who's that?" And she came to the classroom. Who was singing? And the kids were like, "Nobody." And then it was me, of course. And then she said, "Sing it again." So I thought she was angry at me, but it turned out I hit the notes the girl couldn't hit
Oh,
while I was playing soccer.
right.
It was interesting.
It just came out naturally.
And I
to
remember that.
yeah.
Yes. So I have always been, so that led to me leading the choir from that day, though I was a guy. So I've had that entertainment flair as a kid.
Oh, so it's interesting though when you're saying that girls are doing this and guys are doing this. Did you, when you decided to do that, did you get teased or picked on because you were doing something a girl would do?
Not really, because we had guys that sings, but not at the school. We had popular singers that are
right,
guys,
right.
and the guys can sing was rare, but we had guys singing. So no, I wasn't teased. It was even I was even praised because the guys were impressed. Like, wow,
very cool.
something like that. Yeah. So that was my beginning. But then I ended up doing science. And that was just, I don't know why. That was just me too.
But did you like doing science? I mean, did it interest you?
Well, we had to take all the subjects at elementary school,
Right.
so I didn't have difficulty with any of the subjects. But then when I got to junior, senior high, I felt that I wanted science because I think we all knew that science was a better route to be successful. Doctors, and it wasn't because your parents are telling you can see.
All right, so
Yeah.
you're saying science and medical, going to medical as a doctor.
Well, it's only here that you always say medical. In Africa, we don't go to some of it's not medicine only, it's just engineering, anything science related.
Was this something that you started really liking to do, or?
For me, I think it was so obvious to people around me that I would go in the direction of arts, whether theater or anything. I was very good in English, and I love literature. We had that as a subject too, literature. But we also know that science has a brighter future, careers. So, and I had that nature where if you tell me I can do something, I'll tell you I can do it.
Yes.
And so someone must have said that to me that, hey, you are not doing science, you are going to that class, you are doing art. I'm like, why? Why will I do art? Because that's your flair. You like art. Yes, I like science too. No, you don't. No, I like science. I'm going to do it. And so and then I put myself in science class and I regretted it. Not that I regretted it, but I suffered. It was so hard. But of course I did it. But it was hard.
So hard as in, like, what types of, did you focus on a certain
You
subject?
have to do physics, chemistry, biology. I'm talking about
Okay.
junior, senior high. Physics, chemistry, biology, and physics was very difficult. And biology was the one that we all can do. Chemistry, I actually love chemistry because it's a language. Once you get the atomic things going, you're fine.
Yeah.
Physics was the main problem. And it's not the formula memorizing, it's understanding the question.
Yeah.
That you find out. Interestingly, I ended up being a physics teacher. That's actually interesting. And no, so actually, when I go for interview, I always convince the bosses that I know what it is to struggle with physics. You understand? And that is why I'm the best teacher for your kids. So, and I often get a job. And it's just true. Because if this is so easy for you as a person, you'll be able to understand the student that's struggling with it. And I feel like that. And so I love the subject now. I wish I can go back and redo all my physics, chemistry, biology and get better results, but it's okay.
So when you were taking all these classes, then was it all in English? It was okay.
Yeah, at junior high, everything is in English.
Everything was in
Yes.
English.
Yes, and
I didn't know that the English was the African
official language.
Official language. Okay, yeah, I
Yes.
didn't really realize.
I think that helped the Africans a lot because I don't think you'll meet any African that does not speak English.
That was at a certain period of time, though, right? Was it a particular year that happened because of certain things that were happening in the world that Africa adopted it, or is in all the history that you ever knew? Oh, because South Africa was British; it was always speaking, English in that way. But
I can take you back on the story. Don't forget the colonization of Africa, and that was long time ago. Slavery too,
Colonization,
all those
yeah.
things. So it's always been English for Africa.
Okay, that makes
yes,
sense.
that's the reason. Okay, so, yeah, it's always been English for Africa and French. I mean, you know about the demarcation of Africa to different. The Portuguese, the English, the things. So they have all those languages. Mozambique speak Portuguese, for example, very well, and so English has always been the first national language.
Okay.
Then your own native language comes second. Something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. So then you were going through high school, and did you go through university as well in Nigeria?
Yes, Nigeria. Interestingly, I think it's the only country I know that had free education to that level. Most people don't know that. Most people always see Africa as a poor as a poor continent, but not exactly true.
I think it's the way media.
It's a medium. Yes, it's a media.
Puts it
not
out
exactly true. Well, I consider myself lucky to have studied in Nigeria because it was free.
Yeah.
It was almost entirely free. So, in fact, I wish I had stayed to do my master's and PhD and all those things because my friends did that, you know what I'm saying, before they move out. So I was in a hurry to leave the country, so I finished my first degree and I left. I had to do a postgraduate course in England, and I'm still paying for it today.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine? Seriously, I mean, why? Interesting. I did a year course, and I'm still paying for that 1 year course still today.
Because it's the thing. I don't know. It's a big thing in the U.S. about student loans.
Loan, yeah.
I don't know what it is like in the U.K. when you took it, but people end up drowning in this, paying off the debt all the way till however old they are.
I think the U.S. is worse because I've seen my friends like they take it too seriously. That no, I'm gonna pay this. The English guys don't worry that much. They just because they take it only after a base. It depends on how much you earn. So it's not that killing, but you're gonna pay for the rest of your lives.
You mentioned just now that you wanted to get out of Nigeria.
Yes.
And so you ended up in the UK. What was the reason that you felt like you had to just get out?
Get out of Nigeria. Why did I want to leave the country? Whether political upheavals, which wasn't new, was always there, but that time was a tough one. There was a sort of a hope for the country, because we had an election, and that was in was it 1992? We had an election, and hopefully we're hoping for someone to win, and then the person won. But the military government came back in, so like a coup or something. And but that wasn't really the reason why I left. I left because it was hype then to leave the country. It was fun. I mean, if you tell a girl I'm leaving the country, like, yeah, cool. It was a cool thing to leave the country that time.
Right.
And I wanted to leave, so I first left for Saudi Arabia, and that's because we were Muslim. And then I know a bit of Arabic. I studied Arabic like since I was 2-3 years old. Yeah, the after school activity that you do here, mine was Arabic.
Wow,
so
interesting.
It was,
Why did you choose that?
Because we're Muslim. Because in Africa, the Islamic religion is very strong.
Okay.
And yes, it was very strong. Although Dubai was not top that time, I probably would have stayed in Dubai if it was. But I didn't like Saudi Arabia at all. I never liked it. It was so boring for me. I was like, I'm not staying here. And so I spent a few months, and I went back to Nigeria. And I got many people blaming me that, why did you go back? Okay, I arrived in Nigeria, and then there was a devaluation of our currency. And why did I come back to this? You know what I'm saying? And it was harder to get the jobs. I knew I'm going out again. So I left within a few months to South Africa.
To South Africa,
Yes.
okay.
And my reason for South Africa was because I was going to UK or US. That was always the deal. I mean, I didn't have access, so I could go to South Africa, spend some time, then try to find my way to go to the UK. is always to go to a better place, West, not stay in Africa. South Africa is still Africa. We don't want to do that. I've never been to South Africa. I didn't even know whether it's a good place or not. Of course, I knew it was bad because of the apartheid thing. I mean, so but when I got to South Africa, I got a job as a teacher at a secondary school. And that sort of made me want to stay in South Africa because I felt that I was needed. I went to that school for an interview for a teaching position, and it was physics, so I didn't think I could get it, but I just said, let me just go. And I went there, and there were graduates from South Africa that were competing with me, and they gave us a task to do, and they couldn't do it. Now, you have to remember, I didn't study physics at university. I did, I mean, as a course, but my first degree was microbiology.
Oh, okay.
But I could do that physics, and they couldn't. And to me, and so it made me realize that we had a standard of education in Nigeria that we didn't appreciate at all. I got the job teaching at that school, and that's when I was able to see the standard of education in Nigeria compared to what the South Africans, black, got. There's a segregation that is so different what is white school and a black school in South Africa look like. It's some completely different. They have resources. They have beautiful buildings, but they don't have manpower. There's no teachers, no teachers. They have equipment. No one can teach them anything. So they just go there, sit down, and their English very poor. They didn't have quality teachers, and they only got white teachers that couldn't get job at white school.
Wow.
Because they're not qualified, something like that.
Right.
But they want to teach, or because maybe they need the money for a little thing, so they get such job. And these unqualified white teachers at black schools, they get more respect than even a principal that's a black person in that school. So the segregation was so bad in South Africa. You know segregation very well. You're American. You're American, Canadian? You're American. Yeah. So that was segregation. It was a big highlight for me, what it is. And then even the black teachers, when they see the white teachers in town, they don't talk to them. They avoid them. There was that. It was very hard for me to deal with it.
That's kind of like, seems like it's in the old ages.
Yes,
style.
yes.
Wow.
And I was talking about 95, 96, 95, 96. It was already, apartheid was supposed to be over.
Yeah.
Mandela was already
after
there,
that.
yeah. So it was not good at all. And then I went to a restaurant because I didn't know that I couldn't go to these places. I went to a restaurant and the guys wouldn't let me enter the restaurant. And I said, and I can see other people going in. And he said, no, you can't enter here. You see, I actually saw that firsthand. The Americans of the 50s saw that. You know what I'm saying? I saw that in South Africa in 1996. Yeah. I don't know whether you know about the racial sect in South Africa. The black, the colored, and the white. Now the colored, you may not know the colored very well.
Somebody that's like Latin people or Muslim people?
Even I don't know the colored myself. I don't know who they are. But I know they are more like, I think the Chinese would be under the colored if they're mixed together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so the black was still at the
black is still at the bottom of
the
the thing, and then there's the colored, and there is the
white.
The white. So the colored often do jobs like nursing, but the white person there will be the boss, of course. But
like Indian, there was
like
a lot of
Indians,
Indian.
yes, like Indians.
Yeah,
Indians are part of the colored, yes, something
Right.
like that. So I had some colored teachers with me. So colored are allowed into some places. So we went to this restaurant, and my colored friends were allowed to go in. We are teachers. I wasn't allowed. And so my friends were like, but it's with us. And this is the funny part. Eventually, let's say we are 6, for example. One of the teachers suggested that, hey, what about you, Sharon, colored? Why don't you and Ghanniy go and eat somewhere else? We eat here. And that's what they did. But I felt like that was even not good.
Oh,
we should all not eat there. We should all go. And so, but then it shows that they were used to the system. It's something that it wasn't a big deal to them. They were used to that.
that was the first time you had come across it
That was
because it
the
never
first
happened
time
before.
someone kicked me out of the place because they don't want me in because of my color. So I stayed there for as long as I could before I decided to move out of South Africa. So, like I said, I was moving to the West. I want to live in England or live in America. You know what I'm saying? And that's what led me to Taiwan also.
How did that make you think? Because I would feel like that that seemed like it would kind of prepare you or not prepare you for feeling that way here, being excluded in Taiwan, when you were talking earlier about that.
Prepare me, maybe it...
Not prepare you, but...
No, you're
right.
right.
Know what I mean?
You're right. It should prepare me. But instead it made me upset. It's in the sense that, oh, wait, you can do that in your own country. This is not your country. Yeah. That's actually why I feel. I feel like you do that in South Africa, that's fine. You do that in England, that's fine. Because it happens in England too. You do that in America, that's fine. But this place, you are making it your own, and you're teaching the Taiwanese the same style. Like when I go to school, let me mention Kanchao, for example. I applied to Kanchao a while back. I mention it because I've always wanted to say that about them. You know Kanchao School. It's an international school in Taiwan. They have reputation about that. And I applied to Kanchao, and I didn't get, they won't even respond to my application. I applied like over 10 times. So one day I saw a teacher at the bus stop, and he said, oh, he's teaching at Kanchao, he just got a job there. It's a white guy, of course. And I said, wait a minute, who is in charge of recruitment at your school? Because I've applied like 10 times, I never got any response. And he said, actually, the person is an African. I said, really? He's an African? He said, yeah, he's South African. I said, oh, come on. Is she not white? He said, yeah, she's white. Okay, that's what I said. Just like, no wonder I never got any response. But he went to school and met this lady and told her. Now, this is the funny part. I didn't even tell this guy my name. I got an email that day back from that woman analyzing exactly why she didn't call me back. It was her old page. She remembers me. She never, replying is a courtesy. Okay, you couldn't get a job because we couldn't call you for interview for any reason. But that's it. And everything she even wrote was a lie. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter. So the racism thing, sometimes they don't admit they're racist, but they are racist. And they teach Taiwanese people too that racism, because they're like, oh, don't take black people, they don't speak real English. You don't speak real English. You don't even have it as a first language. It's not your first language either. So that's it. And Taiwan, I can say this now. Is Taiwan a racist country? I'm going to say yes. It's a racist country. Why are they racist? I don't know. They accept it. Someone told them, the white people told them, this is how you should do it. Don't take passport from Ghana, passport from Nigeria. Take passport from South Africa because they are white. No, they don't even speak English themselves. From South Africa, from New Zealand, from Australia, from even Scotland. Scotland get to teach here. Ireland, the Irish, have you had Irish people speak English to you? You know what I'm saying? They get to teach here. And then anyone with people that have the English as their first language, don't take them because their passport is in Ghana. Who set up that rule in Taiwan? So the rules that if you don't have a passport from one of those, I call them the famous 5, then you cannot teach in Taiwan irrespective of your qualification or how good you are. Someone came up with that rule, you know what I'm saying? And that is racism, as far as I'm concerned. And then we have we black people, yes, we have to go around that rule by getting married to Taiwanese. Whether, of course, we love our wives or we love people we're with, but we can do that so we can live comfortable. But then we go to these schools and they'll still say the same thing. They'll still say, your passport is not enough. We'll say, no, we don't need passport. We can work in Taiwan. We're allowed to work. And they'll say, we need to get work permit for you. No, we don't need work permit. We are already allowed to stay. They'll keep looking for excuse. Then there's a good one. There's a good one. The parents don't want black teachers. I asked them, I want to see the parent that told you they don't want black teacher. Because I go to these rich people's house to teach their kids one-on-one. I enter their house, eat with them, and I teach their kid one-on-one. And these kids go to this top international school. Please tell me the parent, because I would like to see this parent that say, you don't want black people. I can do that because I'm forward, like, no. But seriously, many black people don't do that. They're just like, okay, fine, I'll go and look for someone else.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying, the racism is, who's teaching these people is the white people that want to monopolize the setting. Like, it's our place, we only have to be there. They can pick anyone. Go to Kanchao today, that school, I keep using that school as an example. There's always new white face coming there every time, new kid that just finished school, get there, just is white, he can teach. That's the thing. So black people have to look for Bushiban. Most of the black people, you see them at Bushiban, or not even in Taipei, most of them are in Taoyuan area because you got to find jobs somewhere. And that is racism that is happening in Taipei or in Taiwan because the government allows someone to manipulate them. It has to be the famous 5 countries that are in Taiwan.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that there was a category of countries that, that's interesting because, and I'm just wondering if you're saying, you know, it's white people or it's just the fact that Taiwan as a country, because it's being Asian is so homogenous, you know, and cultures outside, there's certain ones that they're used to. So it might not necessarily just be a white person that's manipulating the system. I don't know. I'm just.
I don't know.
Just thinking.
I understand that. I agree with you. I agree because it's the media, like you said before. What they know us as gangsters in movies and stuff, and that's one of the things I try to change in Taiwan. So that's why I mentioned that when you see black people, they're doing some weed around their waist, dancing like the acrobatics, and I, in my theater and thing, I say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I want them to see us as respectable people, that we have a civilization, we have culture, and our culture is more beautiful than just naked dancing. You understand that?
Yeah, so it's the, I think it's the stereotyping that you're talking about. People that are not really knowledgeable or educated about certain different countries or certain different culture tendencies or whatever it is. They only have an image that they have in their head, which is stereotyping.
Yes.
People, I mean, when you're talking about dancing, when people go to Hawaii, they think, they're all just the hula dancers and things like that.
You understand it, yes.
But unfortunately, that's just the situation. And hopefully that we can change it by doing what you're doing, is educating people and changing people's perceptions that people are people. Yes. It doesn't matter where they're coming from. Yes, there are bad people, there are good people, but to just judge somebody based on what you think they're like is just not right. And hopefully with my show, my guests, and other people that are more aware of this can slowly change, people's thinking.
Let's just go to government here. Taiwan lost almost all the African countries to China, and they only have Swaziland here now with as in 20.
As officially recognizing Taiwan as a country, right?
But there are many other NGOs that are working around. You don't have to say you have country-to-country relationship. Let's do people to people.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Let people feel at home in Taiwan. For example, I just told you now, black people from African countries don't feel comfortable in Taiwan because they have to struggle to get something that a British will get easily. Simply, they don't even have to do anything, get a phone call. But a black person, we have to go back to his country, fill some form, and fly back here. You have no idea what the black people go through.
Really?
I'm saying this because I'm a British in Taiwan, so to speak. So I been treated in that way too. I have the free pass like the British people. But I know what the black people get through to get here. If I want to marry you now, I'll just marry you straight. I'm British. If a Nigerian want to marry a Taiwanese, they have to go back to their country, fill some form, do something, come back here. They make it so hard.
Yeah, I think it's not only the Africa though. I think if somebody wants to marry a Taiwanese, like if they're an American or European, they still have to do the same thing.
Nope. I got married here too. Anyway, the fact is that it's not it's not the same with the Africa thing. It's only double work for the African people in Taiwan, and that's that. But then hopefully that would change. That would change soon.
So you are a British citizen. You have British citizenship.
I am, yes.
Okay, and how did that happen? You were there for long enough time.
9 years.
9 years, and you taught there.
Yes, actually, when I left South Africa, I remember I was doing science in South Africa. Right. So I started my teaching in South Africa. Then when I moved to England, I had to do the qualification in England, which is a tough one. Then I did that, then got my citizenship around the line, and then taught in England for a while.
So what age group did you teach in?
Secondary schools.
Secondary school. Yeah. And you're teaching elementary schools
here? I choose to elementary school in Taiwan.
Right.
Because I like it. So.
Okay, yeah, I mean, do you, it's a different age group now that you're dealing with. So, because I was going to ask you, was there a difference in the learning style back in the UK, but of course your secondary school compared to
Well, I've taught secondary
school
school in
now here.
Taiwan too. I taught in an
Okay.
international school in Hsinchu, and and the schools is the same really. The learning style of children and learning style, is it easy here or hard? Is that what you mean by learning style? What do you mean?
No, I'm just asking if there is a difference in the way your students learn, or you have to teach because of the difference in culture. I mean, I'm assuming you taught British kids.
Yeah.
Now you're teaching Taiwanese kids.
Yeah.
So is there a different?
Yes, I can answer that because I taught in public schools in England and public schools here.
Yeah.
And so Taiwanese kids are they're more nice. They're nicer. They listen more. They have a culture. Let's put it that way.
Yes,
They have a culture of learning in Taiwan. Apart from the culture of the family culture, they have a culture of learning. They know the importance of learning. So it's easier to teach Taiwanese children than it is to teach English kids because of the tough culture there, playful culture there. And the family support in Taiwan is a lot. I mean, you have after school homework classes, you know what I'm saying? Then you get home. My kids are in school here, so I know what we go through, you know what I'm saying? My kids finish school at 4 o'clock, then they go to an after school where they're supposed to do some homework there. Then we pick them at 6 o'clock, then they get home and sit again for homework. I'm like, I didn't want to study this hard in my university. So that's one of the reasons I like that they're learning this here, because when they eventually move back to England, they can cope easily because they're going to be on their own at the university level. Right. You're going to be your own. So I prefer the Taiwanese style of teaching and the Taiwanese culture of learning than the English one, mostly because of the family support, family inputs. We don't get a lot of that in England.
Okay.
No, we don't. I remember one of the most difficult things for me in England is that after the school, I have to have a list of kids that I must call their parents. And I must do that. It's the rule of the school that you have to call the parents of these kids because they're not learning. And there's no day you don't have a list of kids that refuse to listen and learn. And so that's extra work. So in Taiwan, teaching here in Taiwan for me is more like a holiday for me. I'm just chilling. You know, if I go back to England, I'm like, oh God, this is work.
So why do you, as a foreign parent, I mean, I know your wife is Taiwanese, put your kids through Bushi Ban and all of that stuff? Because it's quite, I mean, there's a lot of pressure for Asian kids in school. And the reasons why, well, one reason I guess people are in Bushi Ban because parents have to work. And so it's kind of like a babysitting thing, but they want them to learn English or something like that. But then, like you said, they go back home, they have to do a lot of homework and stuff. Oftentimes I'm like at night, if I'm going home 9 o'clock or something, I see kids that are in uniform that are just going back home. So it's quite a hard system. So for you though, you just mentioned that your kids go through that, but is that so that's by choice, or it's forced on your family because the school or the teacher is requiring that they spend all this time in Bushi Ban rather than doing, studying at home the whole time?
Okay, let me answer that with my own family and understanding of it. I'm a teacher at the same school anyway, so we finish at 4. And there is a homework class that starts from 4 to 5. And I've finished, but I'll stay at school because of these kids. My kids are there. So they do that homework class. And then from 5 to 6, there is activity class, which could be chess, table tennis, or anything. And so they have different activity every day. You understand? So my kids have Diablo. I don't know, what's Diablo again? Diablo. They have Diablo. They have table tennis. They have unicycle. They have a lot of activities that I like them to do, and they accept that system. They accept the homework from 4 to 5. They accept that system of activity. And in fact, there are days when I want to go home because I don't feel well, they don't want to go home. They're not happy that they're going to miss their unicycle. And they have a skateboard group too, so they have different things. And
okay, so it's kind of like an after school, like in the States we would have after school activities or something.
So that is
like
what
that.
my kids are doing at the school at the elementary level.
Okay.
But I want to answer the one you mentioned about the kids that stay till 9, because I've seen that too. And those are the kids in junior or senior high. Because of the exam, I think one of your podcasts was about the exam being difficult, something like that. So the exam is tough, and kids stay for that. And I think that's good too. Because as far as I'm concerned, when you develop a culture, it's easier for you to at a university level to be on your own and have this discipline. So that is why I know it's tough, but I think it's good. Just my
Yeah,
opinion.
so it gives them, creates discipline
Yes.
or something.
Yes.
And yeah, that's a different way of looking at it in a different perspective.
It's just 4 years. They finish it, then they can be on their
Yeah.
own. When they get to university, they know the importance of working towards success.
So for your kids, though, you're saying that they have the homework hours and then they have the activity hours.
Yeah.
Is that part of the school plan? You have to pay extra for it, right?
Yes,
Parents
you
have to pay extra.
for that, yes.
So maybe I guess I'm just thinking that parents have to put out extra money, and it's more kind of like a glorified babysitting service, basically.
You're actually right, because there are kids that couldn't afford that too.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. There are kids that couldn't afford that. But then we have the parent body. They have one of the activity that is free, that the parent body is paying for. So there's a juggling class where it's always full. I'm like, why is this class so full? So because it's free. So so parents that their kids cannot afford that, they have that one day that they join an activity and they do things. So schools have different ways of dealing with things, but it's good.
Yeah. So you mentioned you're married to a Taiwanese
I am,
a wife,
Yes.
and you met her in the UK.
No, we met here.
Or met
Yeah,
here
we
in Taiwan
yeah.
when you first.
When I first arrived, I think I met them within the first 2 months I got here. Yeah.
Okay, so you came to teach, and then
Yes, I
you
came
guys.
to teach. I was actually a recruiter from England. Yes, I came to
Okay.
teach. Yeah.
And so how has that been? You know, because your cultures are quite different in a lot of different ways. I mean, has there been any cross-cultural challenges or anything, or has it been quite smooth in terms of differences of thinking or your expectations?
Yes, we can cut some things up later. Expectations. There's a lot of similarity between Chinese culture and African culture.
Okay.
I hope people are doing research on this, because I feel so comfortable in Taiwan, and I think I'll feel comfortable in China too, because it's the same culture. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking of that.
Different behaviors, though. Actually, yeah.
I've met Chinese wives here too. I've got some
Yeah.
friends that are married to Chinese wives. Some Taiwanese friends of mine have Chinese wives. So you guys speak the same language.
I
the same
mean,
thing.
living in China, I think
Living
it's
in
a little
China.
bit different than living in
So
Taiwan.
I live in Lagos. I grew up in Lagos, and Lagos temperature, climate is exactly like Taiwan. It rains,
Okay.
it's hot, it's this, it's good. There's the beach somewhere, you can drive there. It's just a lot like Taiwan. That if you haven't been to Taiwan, you wouldn't know that it's a lot like Lagos. Then the food, it's so, well, you have your food, yes, but you also have food from Korea, all those places.
Yes.
So I get that different type of dishes in Taiwan. Well, England has that too, that's true. But then the calmness, Taiwan is a more calm place. Taiwan has the bright lights districts, and they also have the rural setting, which is just like you are in Africa. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things make Africa thing. Then my wife, like an African woman, she cooks, she take care, she do those things that African women do.
Is that expected of an African woman to do in terms of?
Well, I'm not a woman, so I know that African women were like, you grow up knowing what you do as a wife. Let's put it that way. Okay. African women were trained by their parents, just like men were trained to do some things. It's like, what do you call that kind of training? It's called not an active training, something that you just...
conditioned to be that way because of the culture. It's an expectation of the culture.
I'm trying to make, I know the connotation you are going for, and I don't want that connotation. I want it to be like, as a man, you're expected to teach your kids to play soccer, or teach your kid to ride bicycle. Exactly. It's not that you're conditioned. It's just something men do. You know, it's not that they must do that. You know what I'm saying? Like teaching your kid to ride bicycle. A wife can do that too. But men often like, hey, this is me. I must teach my kid to drive. You know what I'm saying? So something like that. So African women take care of their men, and Chinese women beat them at that.
No cultural differences, no challenges in terms of...
well, the challenge is similar also. Parent involvement. You know about that, definitely. You must know about that. The parents like to control their children a lot. It's the same as Africa. But then you can beat that yourself. Like my wife beat that. I mean, the parents try to control her. In fact, it's an interesting discussion. You'll love that. The parent did not accept our relationship. First, no, they were like, no. In fact, she got pregnant. They still said no.
You kind of wrote a play about that.
Yes, I
The
did.
parents not accepting.
There was a play I wrote. You read
Yes,
that play?
yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes. So I always write my thing. Now, when you start writing, you just write everything.
Right. No, okay.
So it was a tough thing to do. And then my wife, that's another reason why I could tell that she was into this. But when things just go smooth for you, you don't know whether you are doing it for the right reason. We had that challenges. The parents were against it. The brother and sister were like, hey, don't make daddy angry. What do you want this guy? Just let him go. And you know what I'm saying? So this sort of support, they were also like doing this. So it wasn't that easy. And relationship is not easy. And if you don't have challenges, I think the challenges also help the relationship, help us to be stronger.
Yeah.
Because we actually left Taiwan to go back to England because we felt like, wow, we're here. We don't have any support from your family. Let's just go to England. And then I had some family and friends there. So we went back to England. We spent almost a year. And we came back again.
That was when you guys already had kids? Oh,
Yeah,
because
we already
she was
had
pregnant.
kids. We had kids.
Yeah.
We already had kids. That was just recent, actually. We went to England in 2017, and we came back in 2018. She wasn't happy. She didn't like it at all. But I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
I know England. I wasn't surprised. Yeah. So that it's good. I mean, to me, marrying a Taiwanese, it's not different from marrying an African to me. Yeah.
So you have 2 kids that are biracial.
I did? Oh, they are biracial. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So is it like, do you have any special, I wouldn't say expectations, but being biracial, how do you see them as, and how do they identify as?
Well, you know one thing about black people like biracial mix. We love it. I like that they're biracial, that they have this Chinese thing. My kids have his small eyes and black face. I love it. And it look so cute and different.
Yes.
And then, they have my hair, you know what I'm saying? And then the second one have the mom's hair. So I love it. But my kids are not like me. My kids are like rich kids. They live like rich kids. I'm a poor man. Seriously, I'm like their driver. I drive them around all the time, drive them to piano class, to tennis classes. But while I'm just like, seriously, I look at them like, this is not fair, you know. I mean, I should be having fun too. And that's why I try to do my own thing sometimes, you know. So, but the kids are having the best time. Yeah.
So they speak Mandarin,
Yes.
and they speak English.
Yes. And that is why I don't speak Chinese.
Yeah.
I've said this to people, they think I've just been lazy, and it's not true. Language is not that hard for me. I speak Arabic. The thing is, I've seen my friends that have the same. When I got here, I went to see my friends, and they were like, all the kids couldn't speak to me because they are very good in Chinese. So I said, I'm not going to learn Chinese, and it worked. My kids speak both languages very well.
So how do they see themselves? I mean, you've taken your kids back to Africa. You've never taken your kids back to Africa?
I don't even go to Africa myself.
Oh.
All right. But I wish, maybe this year I'll go. I don't know.
I didn't know that. Oh, I think I was speaking to one of your other guests that was at the event, and she was talking about had gone back to Africa and stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't.
I don't go to Africa. I don't know why really. So I speak to my family regularly online. So, whenever we think about, we travel every year. That's the funny thing. But we go to England or we go to Dubai. We feel like our holiday should be for we're gonna have fun somewhere and relax. Now, if I go to Africa, I'm not relaxing. No, I don't know. I'll just be. I think about it. I said I'm not proud of saying I didn't go to Africa. Okay, maybe we should go this year, honey. Let's go this year. Come on. Maybe we'll go this year. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you had your own decisions. It wasn't meaning to, because I was just wondering how your kids feel like they fit. But you guys go to holidays abroad in England, do they feel really comfortable in that environment?
They see themselves as English. You know, don't forget they're English. So that's how they see themselves.
Because they've never spoken to me really in English. They always speak Mandarin.
They think you speak Mandarin. Do you speak Mandarin even?
That is.
Do you speak Mandarin?
I do speak Mandarin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why then.
Yeah, their Mandarin is probably better than my Mandarin.
Possibly, yeah. They're born here, so Mandarin is very good. I want them to be good at that, the Chinese language, because I know English. Important. English is easy. They can do that easily, you know.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of them speaking Mandarin, honestly, that they are talking about science in Mandarin. I'm like, wow.
I know, that's like specialized
I cannot
words.
say science in my language. I don't even know the word science in my language. I mean, seriously, I don't know the word science in my language in the language. That's how, because I stopped taking my language when I was in the grade 3 or 4.
Oh.
It wasn't compulsory. It
Right,
wasn't
right.
compulsory. I think Taiwan is compulsory, right? No, it's not. Is it?
I don't
speak
know. I'm
Chinese.
not. I
Yeah,
didn't
it is
grow up
compulsory.
here.
I'm in school. Yeah, it is compulsory. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. English is almost elective, but it is compulsory. Yeah. So I like that because they will always speak English. That's there, but they should have a very good knowledge of the Chinese language. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important for their future.
You heard me speaking my language at the show. Remember? I speak
Yeah,
my
I
language.
did.
Yeah.
I think you sang in that language
Even
too,
not
or
people were
something like that.
surprised to hear me speak my language. But when we have meetings, I don't speak the language. I'm speaking English. They're like, speak the language. I can't speak like that. It doesn't come out freely.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's just like when I came back and it was, or when I tried to learn Mandarin again. It's not that easy, especially when you're not around it all the time. So, okay. So before we go, I just wanted to see if you had any words of wisdom, or what I say is wow, based on your experience.
Yes, I can talk about being yourself. I mean, we all have personality, and know yourself, because people will tell you you are not who you are, and you will believe them because they tell you what they think they want you to be. But if you know yourself, like I know that I can do anything I want to do. And my life experience has shown that anything I want to do, I embark on it, I will achieve it. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. If you don't let anyone tell you you cannot do something, if you want to do it, go for it. And that's what I'll say. Like you're doing now. This is lovely. Honestly, I watch your shows and I just love it. You get to know everybody very well and you connect us in a way. You know what I'm saying? That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to, through this program, connect people,
Yes,
connect
it's very
people
good,
to
yeah.
community. But I really do like what you said about being yourself, because oftentimes we suppress ourselves because of who we are, because of what other people say.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's just a thing that happens. But yeah,
Yes.
I really like that. Be
Thank you.
yourself.
Thank
Be
you.
yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. So thank you for coming to this episode of Old Asian Lady, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.